Game 2 between Team Spirit versus VGJ.Thunder. And this is a pretty big match here, because if Team Spirit win this one, VGJ, they're out and down into the lower bracket.
You don't want to be in a lower bracket, especially when it's a BO1.
And there's a bunch of BO1s to be played as well, right? If you're TNC at the moment, for example, to get to the grand finals, you got to go through 3 best-of-1s, or even 4 best-of-1s. No, 3 best-of-1s, and then straight into the BO5.
Yeah, but that's
going to be scary.
That seems easier if you just win 3 of BO1s instead of playing 2 BO3s. That's less games.
Could deal with 3 kinds of gimmicks, though. Yeah.
But you got to have I guess if you're going through the lower bracket, you got some momentum as well, potentially.
Maybe
because you're playing all the time.
Yeah. Always
true.
warmed up.
Okay, so it looks like the draft is ready, so let's jump into it right now. Let's see if we're going to be jumping into a 3rd game. We've got Game 2 right up here. And so obviously we've got a couple of things you need to keep an eye out here for Team Spirit. You need to look out for DK Phobos as hero. Panda Band's probably going to be incoming as well. VGJ have to look for their core heroes or their comfort heroes as they can get their hands on those as well. VGJ, they didn't pick up their first 2 cores last game. Is this a time for them to pick up their comfort heroes early?
I don't think they necessarily have to. We might see them not go for the Omni Knight again in this situation unless they can maybe ban the Razor. I mean, I would guess the Team Spirit probably still have other plans that they can put into motion if the Omni Knight does get picked again by VGJ.Thunder. But I guess the other thing is that Team Spirit with first pick could also choose to take it themselves, which is potentially a little bit worrying if you're VGJ. They do also have a Razor, so not too worrying perhaps.
They definitely don't want to play against DK, which is...
that's banned again.
Yeah, one of the most contested heroes in China. I saw in the qualifiers for Katowice, DK being a first pick.
Yeah, I mean, VGJ, they play it safe lane, which is a little bit unusual.
Omni.
Yeah, all right, there you go.
Yeah, that's... they didn't have this combo in the previous game because they had only 1 pick, so it was Omni Knight. These 2 synergize well together, as well as they work against each other if they're in a different team.
You can also argue Razor not as demanding as a Gyrocopter as well, able to achieve more than a Gyro can with much less.
Yeah, he's definitely a lane winner. Gyrocopter in certain situations can win his lane. There are certain mid matchups where you can like max missile and completely drive the other person out of the lane, but Razor, on the other hand, is definitely a lane winner in a lot of matchups, and Team Spirit, all right. They're worried about not being able to get their hands on the DK Phobos Brew. I was hoping that VGJ.Thunder would force him onto playing a different hero, but maybe they have some kind of strategy in mind. And they still have the position 4 and position 5 picks to be able to get some more lockdown for the Brewmaster. So maybe we see them picking up the Shadow Shaman, or a Lion comes out.
Possible Clockwork like ban incoming as well.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, VGJ should ban the clock. They already banned what you said, like
47
times. 47 times. Yeah, as for Brewmaster, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Oh, I feel like he is kind of broken right now.
Well, DK Phobos makes it look that way, for sure.
So you're saying DK Phobos is broken. How do we nerf DK Phobos?
Yeah, you ban his Brewmaster. In terms of how they're gonna, deal with him in lane, they still have those options, right? What supports do you think are gonna be good for zoning him out? I wouldn't mind seeing the Shadow Shaman, honestly, if they could grab it.
Shaman's banned out,
they banned it themselves, interestingly. They do have the pick coming out of this phase, so if they wanted it, they could have forced it, but I guess maybe not a fan.
Disruptor, maybe. The Chinese love a Disruptor.
Yeah,
it's a really good way to deal with Brewmaster. I mean, with just a glimpse, you can force him to use it. You don't even have to commit, especially if he doesn't know if it's on cooldown or not.
Yep.
Those couple of seconds.
Yeah, it's actually quite annoying for the Brew to play against. So then they would have to, man, the position 4 would have to have so much setup in that case. I mean, Disruptor does have some catch, but it's not really initiation necessarily, right? So they would have to make up for that deficit pretty heavily with the position 4.
I will say one of the more famous combos has been Disruptor Clockwork. You've got the lockdown where Clockwork can wait where the hero gets a glimpse and they're stuck in the cogs, and you also can set up for the Static Storm.
The Rocket Flare scouts for the glimpse as well. Any vision that you can get with Disruptor is always amazing. We sometimes see Disruptor Bounty Hunter, Disruptor Slardar used to be quite popular.
Oh, Bounty is still in the pool.
Yeah, actually. So VGJ have been banning it a lot. I don't think they really play it that much. Yeah, so that's another one of those heroes similar to Clockwork. In this patch, they've banned it 30 times, but only picked it 5 times. But maybe Team Spirit, not big on the bounty. I don't actually know whether they like Bounty Hunter very much. Do you happen to know off the top of your head of Team Spirit?
Bounty?
Yeah.
I don't know if for Team Spirit, but it's one of the most contested heroes in pretty much every region.
Yeah.
Rubik ends up being the ban here for VGJ.Thunder. So Clockwork still in the pool, not taken out.
Are they going to take their Sand King here? Or maybe they'll take the Clockwork.
Well, they need something to deal with Brewmaster. Position 4 and 5 still opened. So I think Disruptor is a really good pick here.
I guess it's just whether or not they want to try and block pick on the position 4, right? Like we've said, Clock's there, Sand King's still there.
I'm not sure they play it.
Yeah, they've
There
only
we go.
picked it twice. All right.
Nice prediction. Team Spirit, they actually have banned out both PL and Terrorblade. Why would you want to be banning illusion heroes?
They don't necessarily have the best clear for. I think Brewmaster is actually okay against both of those 2 heroes, but
10 seconds
well,
remaining.
I mean, why would you ban illusion heroes if you have a Brewmaster? You wanna, you can counter them
you can
so
use the
easily.
Purge. You've got Haze. That's true. I'm actually a little bit surprised to see those as the 2 bans, and it leaves VGJ.Thunder open to grab one of those.
Earth Spirit is still in the
heroes
pool.
that they really like.
That's a double silence combo. Earth Spirit Disruptor. I like the combo as well, the duo support.
5
Or what they
seconds
can do,
remaining.
I've seen, who was it, Chinese team that run Disruptor as position 4.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Which
don't
works
remember
well.
off the top of my head, but I do remember the game that you're talking about. I mean, there was a time as well where the very popular build of Disruptor, back when supports were all just suiciding to neutrals, was buy a Null Talisman and then just run into lane and throw Thunderstrike. That's not necessarily position 4, but you can have a reasonably big impact
So
in the early game
they
on
removed
Disruptor.
Rubik, so it might be a Clockwork actually, because the Rubik is really good against Clock.
Oh, they go for the Earth Spirit. So double silence combo, as you said.
That's good.
Team
And now
Spirit.
Team Spirit are like, okay, they've got ways to disable our Brewmaster. How do we protect him? We'll pick a good defensive support.
Yes, Shadow Demon again for Team Spirit against Omni Knight. They did it yesterday. We mentioned it already. If you use, let's say, offensive disruption on Omni, so he can't cast any spells, so you have double thing to use on Omni Knight. Brewmaster Cyclone plus Shadow Demon plus you have a Purge as well.
Yeah, the Banish is a double-edged sword this game though, right? You can potentially save somebody in a Static Storm or if they get silenced by the Earth Spirit, but at the same time, there could be a static link on them. You could actually be setting up for a Boulder Smash or a Kinetic Field, so Shadow Demon's gonna have to play a really careful game, I think. And they don't really have a whole lot of synergy offensively with the Shadow Demon, right? They're not making super valuable
Team
illusions.
Spirit should ban DP again.
Yeah, I think that would be very
They
sensible.
have a lot of extra time, 2 minutes almost. They didn't spend any.
Yeah, VGJ.Thunder just banning out the Luna. So what, probably Tiny, mid. And VGJ.Thunder do have the overall last pick this game. I feel like they didn't really use their last pick very well in the previous game, so hopefully seeing something a little bit more valuable. It is likely to be the mid, but they also have the mix-up of potentially putting the Razor on the mid lane if they feel like that's a good matchup, and then picking up another safe lane hero for Sylar. What else is potentially worth banning here? I guess maybe the Medusa. Is this another good Medusa game? Talked about it a little bit on the previous game.
Could be. I saw Chinese team going for Medusa, Razor, and Void. So like
That sounds so greedy.
yeah, that's so greedy. But they want. This is the same team I'm talking about, but I can't remember which one was it. I'll check it.
Okay. And Team Spirit still just really deliberating on this final pick. What else has been popular mid recently? SEA, Tinker has been really popular. I don't know if it's that good of a Tinker game necessarily. For VGJ.Thunder, they've also been playing quite a bit of...
Yeah, LGD loves to run it.
Yeah, yeah.
Considering this is mostly a silence-oriented draft by VGJ.Thunder, could Team Spirit maybe pick up a Jug? He'd be able to avoid a lot of this. He can't really be glimpsed, can avoid the silence occasionally. They don't really have the lockdown for a Juggernaut either.
Jug always works. If you don't know what to pick for a safe lane, you can always pick Jug. Jug is the most Dota 2 hero you can get.
Yeah,
The
he's,
most Dota.
he's super safe in most situations. But in terms of this game, can be a little bit difficult to sometimes play against the Omni Knight. You have kill potential for sure, but as the game drags on,
Gets banned.
the Omni's a pretty good matchup.
Damn.
Yeah. And I mean, VGJ.Thunder, they like to play fairly 5-man oriented, but they haven't picked a ton of building damage just yet. So that's again where I think the two of us are just going to sound like a broken record and just keep saying Death Prophet, right? It still seems like a really good DP game.
When Chinese teams play, I always feel like DP is a must. So this is core Venge.
Team Spirit tapping into their inner spirit, grabbing Avenge.
Yeah, they needed some
Spirit Breaker.
They needed some push. Yeah, pick the Spirit Breaker on VGJ.Thunder. Yeah, there you go.
VGJ.Thunder goes for Storm as well, for the memes. Thunder, Zeus.
Not just that though, lockdown-wise, Storm could avoid a lot of this on Team Spirit.
Yeah, it is actually somewhat difficult for
5
team to find him.
seconds.
Yeah, they have to make their decision.
5
quickly.
seconds for a DP.
It's a Weaver.
Okay, I mean, same vein as the Storm Spirit. Relatively difficult to lock down, but definitely burstable by a Tiny. Again, I'm skeptical about VGJ's final pick. Looks like they are going to be sending the Razor mid.
Yeah, against the Tiny, it's a good matchup. But Weaver as a last pick, do they have Tiny, so it's going to be a lot on shoulders of Tiny if he can control this Weaver.
Who do you
They
prefer?
have Omni behind him, but still, Weaver is really squishy. I wonder what the build is going to be. He might even need to go for maybe Dragonlance first item so that he doesn't get blown up, or Power Threads.
Quick predictions, who do you prefer in this matchup?
VGJ.
VGJ?
I'll say BGJ as well, even though I'm not convinced with the last pick, but Venge as a core, I didn't see it work for quite some time. I think since IG times when they played with Burning. So I'll go with VGJ.Thunder.
All right, looks like VGJ, they have all the support from the panelists. Going to throw it over to your casters. Right now, it's B-Cop and Lumi. Take it away for Game 2.
All right, guys, and we're back here for Game 2 between Team Spirit and VGJ.Thunder. Right now, Team Spirit have a 1-0 lead. Do you agree with the panel that VGJ.Thunder have the advantage after this draft?
I do like the Weaver last pick. It seems like there's very little reliable lockdown, but I am concerned that Weaver can be bursted down by ILTW. I know DK Phobos has been getting a lot of hype in this event, but to me, the unsung hero sometimes has been the mid player, and he's always coming up big. In this game, he needs to. He needs to find that early Blink Dagger and kill that Weaver over and over again. With that said, this is Sylar's one of better heroes. He's been playing it since the dawn of time, you know. So we'll see if he's going to be able to play his way out of this one.
Unfortunately, I think the last time I saw Sylar play a Weaver, it didn't go as well. Tried to pick up a Divine Rapier and then got ravaged twice, immediately dropped it, and then GG was called. But let's take a look at this lineup right now. For right at this moment, we take a look at Team Spirit. You've got FNG this time on the Shadow Demon. Illidan's going to be on that Vengeful Spirit, and then DK Phobos back on the Brewmaster. Take a look at that Sand King. You've got Biver here, and then finally, to line it all up, ILTW on the Tiny for the side of Team Spirit. You take a look at the other side, VGJ.Thunder. It's going to be Kama, a.k.a. Freeze here for this Razor. Fade on the Earth Spirit. AO playing that Disruptor, and then you've got the Omni Knight by Yang, and then, of course, finally, Sylar on the Weaver. So are there any lanes that you're thinking that might just go in some favor one way or the other? It does look as though that they might be looking to send Brewmaster bottom towards the safe lane this time for the side of Team Spirit.
It comes down to how the lanes match up. I think for VGJ, they don't want to put the Weaver up on the top lane. The Weaver probably won't die, but at the same time, the Weaver won't be able to get any farm either. So I think this is the better lane adjustment for VGJ. They send up Omni Knight, who honestly probably won't die here either, and he probably won't get farmed, but I think he's more okay with that comparatively to the Weaver.
So they are sending Omni Knight here over top. He looks as though he's going to be against the Tri-Lane. This is looking really rough already. Illidan's up here with FNG and the Sand King. Lockdown on lockdown, ready to go in onto this Omni Knight early, where I think he's most susceptible to going down.
Keep your eyes up on top here. FNG in a very good position. He's going to cut through this tank tree and maybe set up a disruption.
So they look over Yang. There's the disruption coming out already. You take a look at Bibber. He's got this Burrow Strike coming through. The rotation comes out from the Earth Spirit, but I don't think that's going to be enough with the Magic Missile coming out from Illidan. The Rolling Boulder comes through to try and block them off from Yang, and they will be able to get this Omni Knight out.
Wow, he barely survived there. We'll pop a Sal. Back to decent amount of HP. Sal not going to get canceled. Got the full heal from it, so no harm, no foul.
So they do end up keeping Yang here, where it looked as though he was going to die. You think the rotation of Fade. Now that he's got Fade here, I mean, no, they go for the disruption. This time it's going to be onto the Earth Spirit. The Burrow Strike hits onto 2. They continue to move on forward. The Purification is going to come out on Fade, but the block on the Rolling Boulder. There's the kill. FNG gets first blood for the side of Team Spirit, and they're already looking to continue what they had going in Game 1. So they send Fade up here, but it just ends up him going down for that first blood. You take a look over mid for just a moment. Camo with the static link on ILTW, and then let's take a look at the last lane over bottom. You've got DK Phobos here against Sylar and AO. Do you think DK Phobos, is there really any chance he goes down unless maybe Fade comes over to help get the kill?
Yeah, there's no chance he goes down. If he's getting dove by the Weaver, he just throw the Drunken Haze on Sylar and he's absolutely fine. Once again, I feel like VGJ has always picked up the Earth Spear for Fade, and again, it's one of his better heroes. I just don't know what is his role here early in the game. I don't think he can protect Yang up on the top lane. I think his best bet is actually to go mid and just pressure this Tiny. But so far, he's sticking up on the top lane, and now Disruption once again.
Top lane again, Disruption comes out as well as the Burrow Strike that's going to hit. Magic Missile comes through, the lockdown on lockdown on lockdown. Purification comes out from Yang, trying to stay alive. A couple more shots will do it, but the kinetic field is there from AO just to deter them from coming forward. They've also got Fade here, so now all of a sudden this has turned out to be a tri-lane for VGJ.Thunder, where they've now left Sylar by himself bottom, but I don't really think he needs that much help on him, so it's probably a better choice for them to put 3 heroes here.
Yeah, they should have rotated Disruptor up top way earlier. Granted, it's not like Disruptor is a hero that could really prevent a dive from happening either. Kinetic Field was pretty good in that moment, though.
It just seems like Team Spirit, they're sticking to the plan. They're continuing to just be the team that puts on the pressure towards the side of VGJ.Thunder. Is this a game where maybe VGJ.Thunder are better suited to deal with this aggression coming out as we take a look over mid? They're going to go for the kill on ILTW. They've got the Avalanche hitting on 2, but the static link is there. Rolling Boulder way wide, but ILTW is going to be safe over mid, as that was just way off the mark from Fade.
Pretty critical mistake there. That I think would have been a kill. But to answer your question, I do believe that Thunder has much better heroes to fight early on. Razor, in particular, fights very well early on, and so does Weaver. Might not seem like it, but could port in and use Sakuchi in the fight.
Disruption up top. They're going to lock in Yang for just a moment. There's the Magic Missile hitting, but Yang, I just don't think that Team Spirit have the damage to take him out, but opening up the lane again for Illidan. Illidan just sitting here with what looks to be an easy lane so far. Take a look over bottom. DK Phobos against Sylar. Not really much happening in this lane except for farming. You take a look at where Sylar is. 20-4 already, sitting up there top of the CS chart with his Razor Freeze over mid. So they're having a good time right now, but over top, let's take a look at the Shadow Demon. Burrow Strike hits, Bibber getting the kill, and actually FNG will take out AO. It's an easy 1-2 punch from the side of Team Spirit.
And now Fade will rotate to the bottom lane. I think, well, with DK Phobos pretty low, this could be possible. They need us to actually stun him. They do.
Nicely done. Smash hits onto DK Phobos. They don't have the kill just yet, but finally Sylar gets the last hit and takes him out. And there's a rotation from Fade that he said maybe DK Phobos wasn't going to die unless Fade came down.
Well, he was also half HP. That was more of Panda being super low than anything else. I think if Panda was a full HP, he probably survives. But that was a critical kill because they killed him as he was TPing out. So now Panda's making that walk of shame all the way back into the lane. And that means Weaver is going to continually to grow that lead.
So take a look over at Illidan. He's at a decent lane right now. He's 0-0-1, but he's continuing to farm up. What kind of items are we looking at for Avenge in this game?
Venge is looking to fight early. Phase Drum, Shadow Blade is most likely his go-to. Might pick up an item for the team as well. Solar Crest is not an unpopular choice. There's actually quite a bit of option for that Venge, but it almost always starts with boots upgraded and drums, because just such a cost-effectively good item. Mask of Madness has been popular in the past as well, but I think Drums is more on everyone's radar right now.
So in comparison, in terms of safe laners, what do you think Sylar goes for compared to what Venge is picking up?
Sylar probably wants to upgrade his boots to power treads. He just wants as much effective HP to survive. Dragonlance into Hurricane Pike is a good survival item for more stats. I've seen player actually go Hood first against like Tiny just to survive that combination. I think Eternal Envy in particular, when he plays Weaver against Tiny, that's the build he goes for.
They're going to go over bottom. They look over towards DK Phobos. There's the time lapse used by Sylar, continuing to try and go in. Trading shots right now is DK Phobos as well as Fade. They brought Biver over to try and get the kill onto the Earth Spirit. They'll chase on up to these stairs. Biver looking for the Burrow Strike to lock him in, and he hits the Burrow Strike, but Sylar on the back lines able to kill off this Brewmaster. No, it's FNG with the disruption, keeping him alive, and nobody goes down in this exchange.
When nobody goes down in the exchange, I think VGJ comes ahead because they drew 2 supports to the bottom side of the map, and that gives Yang a breathing chance to actually get some farm up top, and he is under a ton of duress. In fact, he's now going on Illidan a little bit, threatening the Purification.
Illidan just sitting here right now, continuing to do what he's been doing the whole game, continuing to farm. We take a look over at Yang. Yang kind of found himself a little bit of a spot in this lane right now, hitting the Purification on Illidan, and we take a look over bottom as they brought Biver here to help out DK Phobos. You think Biver is enough to keep DK Phobos alive for right now? Is it enough to maybe be the aggressors in this lane?
I don't think they have enough to actually kill the Weaver. Weaver at this point with 12 magic wand charges and the power treads, he should probably not die to anything unless he gets completely chain stunned by Venge or Tiny. Unless, obviously, if his HP is low enough, which currently is not the case.
Looking like they're going to set up over towards bottom. They get the rolling boulder coming through as well as the kinetic field, but the Burrow Strike out from Biver is enough to get him out. But the boulder smash from quite the distance from Fade is enough to lock him down to get that glimpse back. He tries to TP out, but the damage is too much from the side of VGJ.Thunder, and Sylar will get that kill on a Biver.
Wonder if Fade is having some butterfly right now, missing a lot of these rolling boulders.
I do watch him quite a bit. It's very uncharacteristic of him to be missing as much as he is right now, but they are starting to converge over mid. They're looking for ILTW. They've got the boulder smash coming through as well as the kinetic field to lock them in. They've got the static link. There's the toss throwing away Fade, but that's not going to be nearly enough to stay alive. And VGJ.Thunder, they will kill off this Tiny.
And you can see the big difference between this game and the last game is that the supports are essentially making the same type of rotations, but because the cores are so much stronger in the lane, they could actually participate in the kills. Last game, comparatively, Gyro, Luna, these don't really do that much. And VGJ, as a result, is in a much better shape.
It seems like they've really opened up the space for Sylar, who has queued up that Lincoln. So you think that's good enough a first item for him?
Lincoln's is a very traditional Weaver build. I mean, good against the Burrow Strike, good against Avenge, but honestly, I don't think that those two are the biggest threat. I feel like you need to solve the Tiny issue. Tiny will just combo you.
So DK Phobos, Biver both smoked up, looking like they're heading a little bit towards top, but for right now, you got to be careful with the Tiny over mid. His Fade is coming over with a Plasma Field. There's going to be the kick coming through. They've got the Kinetic Field to lock in ILTW, as well as the Static Link. They'll silence him up with the Geomagnetic Ribbon. Now they continue on forward as Kama looking for that kill. He's got a lot of damage saved up, and now he'll take out ILTW, but on the back line, they've got the Burrow Strike hitting on it too. They'll clean up AO. Now they look for the Razors. They continue on forward with the Bruce Split as well as Biver, but he doesn't have another Burrow Strike for a couple more seconds as it's down on 3-second cooldown for now. They've got the stun coming out from the Brewmaster, but they're not going to move on forward just yet. With the Cyclone there, going past this tier 1 may not be the answer as Sylar. He's coming into the fight looking for something, but everybody on the side of Team Spirit has found their escape for now.
So because Brewmaster got glimpsed at the beginning of the fight, he was actually sent back to the location next to the shrine. I really dislike the TP by Sylar. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but he could have gotten tier 1 tower bottom by now had he not made the TP. Sure, getting the Brewmaster will be nice, but I think getting a tower for the team would have gave them much more advantage. Yang on the top lane, Repel, could just TP out if he wants, but actually never mind.
Kinetic Field comes out, that's going to lock him in. Meanwhile, we take a look at Biver, who had the Burrow Strike to try and get away. The Rolling Boulder comes through from Fade. They'll continue to chase with Freeze, and one more shot will do it, and he'll get the kill.
Yep. In fact, it was Venge that ported out. I thought Venge had swap, but decided to not skill it. And now DK Phobos
Getting chased under this tier 1. The disruption comes through from FNG, but you've got 4 heroes here for the side of VGJ.Thunder. They're able to clean up 1. They look for more. DK Phobos, he's got nowhere really to run. The rolling boulder comes through. There's the couple of shots coming in from Sylar, and Fade cleaning him up. But now the Burrow Strike as well as the Magic Missile on to Sylar. He really has no fear in him. He's not even using that time lapse, just continuing to pressure the side of Team Spirit. They're not letting off the gas right now in between the tier 1 and the tier 2.
Team Spirit finally on the back foot here, and you got to keep in mind that their lineup doesn't scale necessarily as well as VGJ.Thunder. So the fact that Thunder is ahead at this stage of the game and has a better scaling lineup, they stand a much better chance of winning this game and sending it to a game 3.
Yeah, first game was complete domination from Team Spirit. It looks as though this game we're seeing the exact opposite. So something we talked about in the first game when ILTW was on that Tiny was Blink Dagger game or Shadow Wave game.
Bottom side.
Bottom over as DK Phobos getting chased by Sour. The Thunderclap comes out on both Fade and Sour, but he's got that double damage. Continuing to chase with a Shikuchi. One more shot. Down he goes. 8-3 in favor of VGJ.Thunder.
I think he has to go Blink Dagger this game if you're talking about the Tiny, because the threat is the Weaver, and Blink is probably your best tool killing the Weaver. I mean, Shadow Blade essentially accomplished the same goal, but with how slippery Weaver is, Blink just gives you much more precision to find that kill. And you get it earlier as well.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So looking like it could be Blink Dagger on both DK Phobos as well as ILTW. Is that enough lockdown for them early enough to really start to turn it around? It just seems like VGJ.Thunder is starting to run away with this as Sour now taking the bottom tier 1. Ooh, over mid. Let's take a look. There's the disruption coming through. They've got the silence from the Geomagnetic Grip as well as the static storm on 2 as the Voltage Bench comes down on both these heroes. They continue to chase onto this bench, trying to get away Zillion, but he's taken out by AO. They'll also clean up FNG, and it's 2 kills for the side of VGJ.Thunder.
Yeah, everything for Thunder is coming on now. Weaver on the bottom side also has taken down the tier 1, now pressuring the tier 2. What a complete role reversal between game 1 and game 2 here. And you can see Razor has been such a big centerpiece for both the winning teams. It's a hero that lanes extremely well. It's a hero that comes online very quickly and fight very effectively.
Also made a lot of space for Yang, but see if it's enough. Disruption comes out, Burrow Strike hits. No follow-up just yet to this harassment coming through from Team Spirit. They're trying to body block him. There's the repel, and Illidan just not coming in time.
Mid lane.
Over mid, let's take a look. We've got ourselves a static lane coming through on ILTW as well as the rest of the team from VGJ.Thunder. They've got the glimpse back. ILTW taken out. 11 kills for VGJ.Thunder. They're just continuing to move on forward. There's no stopping for the side of VGJ.Thunder as they look over at Vibber. There's the Shikuchi forward from Sylar. Vibber, not enough mana to Burrow Strike away. There's the rolling boulder, and there's the kill for Fade. VGJ.Thunder with another.
And the crazy thing right now is that Sylar is able to participate in all of these kills essentially just with power treads. He's going to find another. FNG will disrupt. He gets silenced a little bit too late. The kick, though, is on point. Sylar will complete the kill. He is dominating.
Yeah, he's dominating. He's 4-0-4. Just destroying the side of Team Spirit. He really is the exact opposite of last game.
It turns out when you have a better draft to fight, ROTK learning from the previous mistake.
Something we saw from VGJ.Thunder being down so much was that they couldn't really bring it back. Are Team Spirit in the same spot where they're kind of just now forever on the back foot? Swap comes out as well as the Geomagnetic Grip from Fade. They bring in the Disruptor as well as the Omni Knight. They might be just looking for this glimpse. If they can get enough vision on him, they'll lock down Illidan. There's the kinetic field, and Courier comes through. No glimpse coming out. Oh, the CP away is Illidan.
It was a great attempt. Could not find it. To answer your question, the Team Spirit lineup does have very strong team fight with the Broodmaster. So if they get off good enough split, if Beaver could find himself, or Biver rather, find himself a quick enough Blink Dagger, I do see them kind of team fighting their way back in the game, but it's an uphill climb.
A gift from the
Four-man smoke coming out from VGJ.Thunder trying to come around over mid, but it does look as though Spirit, they're setting up by them on themselves over mid. Couple heroes here ready to go. VGJ.Thunder just sitting on the edge, thinking about going in onto the side of Team Spirit, continuing to kick them when they're down. With that, they actually just turned it away. They kind of see the converging from Team Spirit, and it's enough to deter them from going in, and maybe we actually see a kill for Team Spirit if they can catch themselves enough vision here on the Fade, but just too far away from Team Spirit is this Earth Spirit.
Dire are scanning.
Team Spirit understanding that they really cannot take a head-on fight without pretty much everybody. So they're roaming around as 4 or 5. And VGJ, if they want to do this, they could just kind of play the game slowly and now farm. Again, the Weaver is so far ahead right now. He has Lincoln's almost finished. And once that's ready to go, they could go back for the fights again.
So we're gonna grab that Lincoln's first. Now going a little bit defensive with that first item.
This ward is so like next level because it blocks your own camp. And I guess VGJ.Thunder would not check for that ward.
Radiant structures are fortified.
What do you think's next for Sylar now that he's got this Lincoln Sphere finished off, or on his way on the courier?
I think Dragonlance is a very strong choice. Diffusal Blade is a very common pickup on the Weaver as well. It just kind of comes down to how he feels. Does he want all damage? Does he want a little bit of survivability?
Rolling Boulder comes out over towards this top lane, but they don't get the kill just yet. The comes back on it. Illidan, they'll clean up the kill. Freeze getting another one. VGJ.Thunder, they're finding anything and everything on the side of Team Spirit and continuing to push. Now they've got the tier 1. It just seems like Team Spirit, they're on the back foot.
Yep. Another good choice that Sylar could pick up is the Medallion Courage and just Solo Crest. Could give his team a little bit of Roshan capability if they're looking for that. Pretty much at this point, any item that he gets that deals damage is good enough. It just comes down to, again, what kind of style he wants to play, how safe he wants to play.
So with this kind of a lead, is it a game where VGJ.Thunder can continue to just play it at their own pace?
I think so. Bottom lane?
Bottom lane, they've got the Magnetize as well as the Boulder Smash coming through. Bivver in a lot of trouble. The Static Link comes out from Freeze. One more shot will do it. They'll get the kill. Meanwhile, in the jungle, you take a look over. AO trying to run away right now, just from his own illusions, but... Alright. So Team Spirit actually lose 2 in that exchange, 16-3 in favor of VGJ.Thunder, and they just continue to extend that net worth lead.
FNG quite frustrated, drawing a ton of arrows on the mini-map, alerting where this team, where VGJ might be.
Actually, Sylar stealing the stacks over here.
Yeah. And for VGJ, they just need to play this slowly. Don't need to kind of tower dive or do anything too crazy.
Wow. Blue split comes out just at the threat of Sylar. They continue to move on forward. They might look for something on VGJ.Thunder. I just don't know if they have enough. The Rolling Boulder is out. Fade able to walk away on the back lines of Sylar for right now, but there's a Sentry Ward. They pop the link as they continue for more. He's able to time-lapse away from the side of Team Spirit, get out of that Sentry Ward vision. Decent for right now, but Kama, you take a look, he's continuing to chase on forward onto DK Phobos. They'll get the kill, they'll clean up one, they look for more, as in the Static Storm. I couldn't see.
Yeah, Glimpse was going to cool down, so the port home safe was fine, but that's Team Spirit's team fight. They don't have the Panda Brew split anymore, so Thunder is able to do whatever they want. That means the tier 2 bottom's going to go down mid. Looks like they might make it a go here.
Take a look over B once again. The silence comes out on a couple of Bivver, gets the burst strike coming through onto this disruptor. They'll take out one, they look for more. Sylar trying to get himself enough distance as the Magnetize is out on a couple of these heroes on the side of Team Spirit. Fade as well as Sylar thinking about going back in, but the TP is coming through from DK Phobos, so they're at full strength here for the side of Team Spirit, and you're down one hero on the side of VGJ.Thunder. I don't know if this is the fight that they're willing to take.
They don't need to take this fight because Freeze is pushing bottom, and they just want to buy a little bit of space anyways. Freeze completes the building kill. Mech now comes online on Thunder. Again, all they have to do is play it calmly, just farm slowly, get map advantage, and likely grab the Roshan, and just outscale Team Spirit. Make Team Spirit come to you.
VGJ.Thunder can continue to just counterattack as well as be the aggressors. I feel like they're in a good spot, especially continuing to just grow that net worth advantage. Now at 11,000 net worth, top of the net worth is Sylar, and followed up closely by Freeze. So got the SNY here as well as the phase boots. Take a look over mid, the kinetic field comes out, the avalanche hits on the Fade. Looking to chase on the side of VGJ.Thunder. You take a look over at Sylar's got the repel on him, so can continue to move on forward. FNG with the disruption, the followed up by the barrel strike coming out from Bivver. The shots come in from ILTW. They're looking to clean up Bivver. The Boulder Smash comes out as well as the Rolling Boulder. He's able to escape. They look over at Dylan, and they've got the Static Link here as now the Static Storm comes out on a couple of these heroes. The Guardian Angel comes through from the side of VGJ.Thunder. They look for more as they've already taken out Dylan, and ILTW in a bad spot with the Glimpse coming out, pulling it back with the kinetic field, locking him in. They'll get themselves a second. VGJ.Thunder double kill here for AO, and they take out the top cores on the side of Team Spirit.
What a play by Sylar. He threw the Lincoln Sphere onto Fade, and so Fade took actually the stun from the Magic Missile and was able to row out. He did eventually die, but it made Team Spirit commit so many more spells to actually get the kill. And as a result, VGJ, with their superior chasing power, able to actually complete the kill. And now Phobos on the mid lane, he does have the Bruise Split. If they could force him to use it here, and they will, that's a big win for VGJ.
Yeah, they don't even have to engage in this point, but Sylar just being so aggressive really wants to continue to just push back Team Spirit, forcing out these abilities.
3K gold right now. He could buy whatever he wants. He now wants to pick up a Desolator, a great choice. You're looking to end the game, so Desolator is probably one of the best items you can pick up to get objective at this point.
A golden thread.
Seems like Team Spirit are just getting played hard in the second game. And it seems like they're a little bit lost at times, just trying to find an answer.
Yep. I think their best bet of doing something now is finishing the Blink Dagger on the Sand King, grab a smoke, and get Bruise Split up and just take a fight.
Top ILTW for these heroes coming from VGJ.Thunder. They've got the kinetic field, and there's the swap out. Illidan gets the save, but that might put himself in a little bit more trouble as the Boulder Smash comes through. They don't have the kill just yet. There's the bonus back on ILTW as well as the Static Storm plays down. They've got the Magnetize on all these heroes on the side of Team Spirit. They'll take out Illidan, and they might even look for more. The Burst comes through from Biver, and now they've locked down Freeze for just a moment, and now the Sandstorm from Biver just to stay alive, trying to get away, but I don't know if he's making enough space. Freeze continuing to move on forward. 2 more shots will do it. And glimpse him back, get him there, and get the kill. 3 dead on the side of Team Spirit, continuing to just get manhandled by VGJ.Thunder.
And the crazy thing was that was a 4v5. Sylar wasn't even in the fight. Sylar was pushing down bottom. Now it's actually rotating mid, so it just shows you how far ahead Thunder actually is in this game. The highest net worth hero wasn't even in the fight, and it was not even close.
Sylar pushing mid, and we do see that the Tiny went for Shadow Blade. How do you feel about that over the Blink Dagger that you were thinking before?
I think at this point, the insta-pop potential for the Tiny is not big enough anymore because Sylar is so highly leveled and so tanky as a result. The Shadow Blade might put a little bit more pressure on the supports of Thunder. Honestly, between Blink or Shadow Blade, it feels like either one he's gotten would not be enough, just simply because how far behind they are now. But I guess Shadow Blade scales a little bit better.
Shadow Blade, Avalanche Toss comes through as well as the Magic Missile to take out Fade to start, but now the Kinetic Field locks him in. Illidan gonna get that swap coming through again. But the glimpse is back, and now they try to get this kill on to Illidan. They don't actually end up getting ILTW to come back. Beaver gets the Burrow Strike coming through on into a couple of these heroes, and now the Guardian Angel is forced out. They've taken out 2 on the side of Team Spirit. The Static Storm on the back line. ILTW locked in with this, as well as this Kinetic Field. They've got the Cyclone here onto Sylar, just trying to lock him down as much as they can with the Burrow Strike, hitting again onto Freeze. Try to get this epicenter to come through, maybe get themselves a couple of kills, but ILTW just gets away out there with the Shadow Blade, so he's able to walk away from Sylar, but still, Sylar here ready to go. Burrow Strike comes in, they lock him down for just a moment longer. AO drops to ILTW, trying to get the kill with the Shikuchi forward, but won't find this Tiny, and Sylar just able to save the Aegis and walk away.
Visions wins fight. They have an Observer up in this high ground. There is no detection for this Tiny that popped up on them, surprising them with the Shadow Blade, so I mean, they were down so much in terms of net worth, and that was an Aegis fight for VGJ, but that's a big winner for Team Spirit. We're gonna see that team fight one more time, and just look at how much attention they're trying to put onto that Tiny. Tiny barely surviving the engagement, and I believe he was able to pick up a kill on the way out at the end.
A gift from the goddess.
Picks off AO, gets around that fight with seemingly no health the entire time, too. But Team Spirit, they're clawing their way out. It's a 17,000 net worth deficit right now, so they're trying to pull their way back into this game, maybe try to even it out with a couple of high ground defenses.
Radiant are scared.
See if they are able to do that, as staying together right now is Team Spirit. It looks as though they might be looking to possibly smoke up in a moment.
Damage is starting to be a concern here for Team Spirit, as the Thunder heroes are itemizing for a ton of survivability. It looks like they're going to fight up the hill one more time. This is not a good position for
VGJ.Thunder in a bad spot. Favor's going to have the Burrow Strike as well as the Static Storm laid down on Illidan. Illidan in a bad spot, but not really getting hit that hard. And now Sylar finally comes in with a disruption coming through onto this Vengeful Spirit. They've got Illidan locked down, killed off, and Sylar not even that much trouble. They got the Boulder Smash coming through. That's going to hit onto the Shadow Demon. FNG's going to drop, but they've killed off AO, they've killed off Yang. 2 down on the side of VGJ.Thunder, but they're losing too much. Beaver falls, ILTW forced the TP out, just gets away. But now you've got to deal with this Brewmaster who is split up, but only has one Brewling left.
That
Swarm
Brewling's
comes
gonna
out.
die, I think.
Oh yeah, they're continuing the chase. They're looking to get this kill, make sure he's not able to blink away, and there's the Boulder Smash, Geomagnetic Grip, Rolling Boulder, and the kill for VGJ.Thunder. They take out 4.
That was just a brute force. VGJ charged up a hill without any
Radiant's
vision
top
and
tower
just,
is under attack.
look, I'm stronger than you, much stronger than you. And they just ran them down.
Now it looked as though Team Spirit were the ones who were setting up for a smoke, but VGJ.Thunder said, we're going to be a little quicker on the gun for that one. And they just get the kill. And they continue to just walk through this team.
Aegis should be running out very soon, so they'll back it up.
So at this point, Team Spirit down 20,000 net worth. There are glimpses of hope at time, but what do they really need? Is there anything, like, what's the blueprint for them? What are they thinking in that booth right now?
We still haven't seen Team Spirit actually take a team fight where everybody's present and everybody has their spell ready. For example, in that last engagement, the Brewmaster split just came off cooldown in the second half of team fight. If they had everything together, maybe they stand a better chance. Smoke gang career from Team Spirit, 30 seconds till the Brew split.
Seems a little bit early. They're heading over towards top for the moment, but wrapping around VGJ.Thunder, they're not going to press up onto the high ground again. Maybe they're not too confident to do that a third time. At this moment, they are 1 for 1, and Team Spirit, they're setting up over mid. Maybe try and go in on Sour. They've got the Shadow Blade here. They see him buy this Sentry Ward. Don't have the ability to initiate just yet. And the scan comes out from the Dia right on top of all these Team Spirit heroes. So Sour actually moves into the high ground. Sentry Wards are aplenty. There's the look up over the Geomagnetic Grip hitting onto this FNG Shadow Team, and they'll get the kill, and now they look for more, but Illidan doing a lot of damage to Sylar. Sylar in a little bit of trouble. He finally uses that time lapse. They've gotten themselves one. They look for more with the Avalanche as well as the toss over onto Sylar, but it's just not enough. ILTW's taken out. Now they chase onto Illidan. Illidan going to try and swap his way out of this one, but he is not getting away from the side of VGJ.Thunder. They'll take out a third. They look for more. Sylar getting low, but they'll take the Brew out, and it is 4 down, and GG's called. VGJ.Thunder even the series up at 1.
I think the biggest takeaway in this game was that Sylar had a free lane, and he was able to impact the game very early on. By comparison, DK Phobos, who normally has a very good laning stage, got dumpstered this game.
Yeah, and I talked about how sometimes he's able to bring it back a lot, and it just wasn't a game where he was really able to do anything. It seemed like Team Spirit, they were corralled the whole time, and VGJ.Thunder were not letting up at all.
Also, the X factor that I was pointing out, ILTW, didn't show up, again, just due to the laning stage. So it seems like both of these games we've seen the team that's more aggressive with the better laning cores are the ones that's going to take it. I expect Razor to be a high pick material for the next game.
You think maybe they switch it up, try to get away from that Tiny for the side of Team Spirit?
Yeah, maybe even. Tiny is very strong, but we see Razor just being the most dominant hero in this series.
Yeah, they are able to run through that Tiny, able to run through this Team Spirit team. They push it to a game 3. We're even here at 1, and we'll see what the desk has to say about this second game, and we'll throw it over to the desk.
Okay, thank you very much, Lumi. Thank you, B-Cop. We are going to a third game, gentlemen. No 2-0s today, a third game. But it looked like they woke up. VGJ, the first game, maybe they were sleeping a little bit, didn't quite wake up in the morning, and then suddenly the coach, up to them one by one, wake up, guys. Time to wake up.
Yeah, I was wondering what was happening to VG in game number 1, because that's something really different from what I've used to see, especially in Katowice qualifiers. They look so strong. They qualified for Genting as well. This is the thing I was talking about. When you lose all 3 lanes, you're just gonna get crushed and lose the game. Razor got upper hand, of course, in the matchup, but dominated Tiny too hard. Weaver on the bottom was so active, even when she dominated the lane.
Yeah.
She was.
Didn't even have a fully completed Lincolns. It was just like treads and an Aquila, get your level 10, get the mana burn, and just run around killing everybody. It was really, really impressive from
And also,
Sylar.
when you try too much to shut down a hero like an Omni Knight, it pretty much always backfires, because he can easily come back into the game, especially because of the GPM talent that he has.
And he's just there to enable his other cores, right? The Yang at a certain point was like, look, I threw a repel, I'm set. That's all I really need to do in this fight. I'll throw 1 purification, I'll throw 1 repel. I don't care if I get avatar.
I pop drums.
Yeah,
that's what matters these days.
Pop
Yeah,
drums.
that's the big deal.
I think something we also need to consider here is that there was a lot of chase potential on the side of VGJ, and it was always Spirit on the run. And normally if you're on the run, that's when Glimpse is an amazing spell for chasing down heroes. That's where the Weaver just Sakuchis and chases you down. You know, what does Team Spirit do when there's so much chase available, when ideally you need to be playing aggressively so that these chasing mechanics, they're not as effective anymore. So going into game 2 here, the Team Spirit, do they need to maybe reconsider their draft, as the casters are saying, maybe get rid of the Tiny, change their lineup a little bit, maybe even eliminate Razor from the pool altogether?
Yeah, I don't think the draft was that bad. I think it's just that VGJ.Thunder's lineup matches up really well against it. Like I think that Tiny is a pretty premium hero, but then picking the Tiny and leaving the Razor in the pool turned out to be a little bit of an issue. Maybe they should have first overall picked the Razor themselves, something like that.
Razor and Omnis that just do
the
good
1-2
not
punch
to
is
have
just
it.
it's really solid.
Also, the Disruptor pick was pretty genius. They have a lot of vision from the Swarm, from Plasma Field. Earth Spirit is always in the front line, so you have guaranteed glimpse. Also, that was one of the reasons why DK Phobos was shut down. I didn't feel the Vengeful Spirit pick at all. I already mentioned that it's kind of a bad hero to play with. I mean, you can pull it off, but it's really low percentage that you're gonna win.
It looks good if you're ahead and your mid hero is really snowballing, and they're benefiting from the aura, they're benefiting from the minus armor. But in this game, Vengeful Spirit was only really providing that stuff for herself, because Tiny wasn't really getting the chance to right click. I think this game as well, we saw what happens when a Brewmaster does fall behind a little bit, or when his team falls behind. He was getting forced to split in really awkward situations.
Yeah, that was because of Disruptor as well.
Yeah, he had to split defensively.
Yeah,
dodge some glimpses. There was even one moment on mid lane where he was farming a little bit and then got jumped. His team was nowhere nearby. He just popped the split 100% to save himself. And that's not what you want, right? Every single split on the Brewmaster is ideally a couple of kills, a one team fight, and then another objective. Which Team Spirit just couldn't quite put together after the way the lanes went.
Also, Venge is one of the cores that builds into Mask of Madness. You don't want to build Mask of Madness to lower your armor when you play against Weaver and Razor. You die in a couple of hits. Also, we gotta give credit to Fade for his performance on Earth Spirit. In the first match, he missed pretty much every single roll and all the boulders. This game
was
on point.
Better
Super
performance,
good.
right?
For
So
sure.
for the first time at the main event, it's not going to be DK Phobos getting MVP for his match. It's actually going to be Ayer on the Razor this game, having a KDA of 13, 0, and 12, being unkillable.
Yeah, I think Sylar also had an amazing game, and also it wasn't AO playing the Razor, it was Kama, but that's
I don't know why
all
Ayer's
right.
there, but
You know.
maybe it's Ayer's here, but it's
We'll
got
get it
Razor
next time.
stats. Well, that's fine. I was actually going to mention, I thought maybe Sylar would get MVP as well. He did really well versus DK Phobos, and in general, he was just weaving in and out of that lineup. They couldn't catch him. He was just so elusive.
I love to disagree, so I'll say Sylar, because he won his lane pretty convincingly. And
then he went and
after
run the
that,
rest of the game, right? He ran around with Fade and just killed everyone. We had two really amazing score lines. It's 13-0 and 12 on the Razor, and 11-0 and 12 on the Weaver. So they were neck and neck.
Too elusive for them to kill, right? So going into the next match, what are you expecting to see from Team Spirit? Maybe going for a less predictable draft, because they've been going for more or less the same heroes all tournament.
I still want to see their lineup with a Chen. They play it really good. Also, Viver is one of the players that plays it for them. You always disrupt enemy's safe lane with sending the creeps back, and he loves to go for Midas as well, which is pretty rare, so kind of different approach of playing Chen, so I want to see it.
Yeah, I'd like to see them keep their draft maybe a little bit more open coming out of the first phase. Like if they really like this Sand King so much and they're willing to pick it in any situation, maybe just take it in the first phase, leave yourselves those later picks to be able to counter pick VGJ a little bit more and put together a more cohesive lineup, because that was the problem. Again, they've picked two cores in the first phase this game, and it felt like this time around they actually got punished for it. So I want to see at least one support in the first phase.
I said that the Weaver is, I'm not convinced with the Weaver, but I was wrong, so.
There you go.
Hey.
It was a really good pick.
Hey, sometimes things work. Now we're going to be jumping into Game 3 in a moment. First, we're going to have a quick commercial break while we give the players some time to think it through, as Game 3 will determine whether they make it through or not in the upper bracket. We'll see you guys soon.